So these are the alternative awards. The idea is that nobody really gets many compliments, so if you think you're going to be in for a good time, you're not. But the idea is that I mention every player who's here, and hopefully insult nearly all of them. It's proved a pretty good way in the past of making sure that people don't come back the following year, and whether that tradition will continue. How's the microphone? Is it all? Okay, so before the awards start, just a few reflections, and this, as you all know, is October. For those of you who've read that little chart on the clubhouse wall, it's a great month, October, for cricketers, because it's a month when we realised our wives left us in May. But in my case, I was quite sort of surprised, really, because I think the rumours of cricketers' obsession with cricket is overdone. I got home after the last league game in September, and I found Pam was still there, sitting on the sofa. I turned on the telly, I watched some football, and after a while, there's a bit of a stony silence, and she said, "You know, you're the most obsessive male chauvinist pig I know." And I said, "Look, couldn't we talk about this at half time?" On to the awards, I always like having a look at the menu because it's quite revealing, really. I think the food's been really good tonight. We've got a mixture of some linguistics. We've got Hudson here back from some foreign country who can probably pronounce some of these words and I don't know what they mean. But for the cricketers, the players, they kindly put on very simple words like soup and burger and pork. And looking down, all the cricketers have ordered simple words. Mark Dakin, pork, Scotty, burger, Brooksy, pork, Mike Gillett, burger, Steve, salmon linguine. Is that all your own words? And Penny's got burger with sticky toffee pudding. Surely they must have swapped that over, I can't believe it. And I also thought, you know, there's a lot being done here for the people who are linguistically challenged. I wonder if anybody had ordered soup and pork and cheese, maybe an accountant who's no good with that. Oh goodness me, Mike Stevens, soup, pork and cheese. Do we have any other accountants in the room? Do you have any accountants on the text? Soup and pork and cheesecake. Push the boat out. So well done you accountants, and I'm glad to say there were no tarts this year, the first time in many years. So let's get near to the cricket with some apologies for absence. Doug McKinnon, really disappointed he can't be here because he is most of the jokes actually, but he's not here because he's in hospital. That's just generally he's in hospital today. Quite a serious operation to remove the last remnants of his sense of humour. He's now apparently fully qualified to vote as a Scotsman. Steve Nappy's been fantastic for his umpire. On a serious note, as Taggart mentioned, he's a regular umpire and he has never really recovered since he umpired a game at Banbury where a girl bowler said, "That wasn't an effing wide." That was the punchline. For those of you that know, we're trying to rebuild a new clubhouse on the basis of Hilton. Don Gabriele can't be here. He's on a course actually entitled Clubhouse Design in the Style of the Taj Mahal. And there is an apology for lateness which goes to Dickers, who is late because he had to spend the evening writing out lines, 3,000 lines, which said, "I mustn't remember Ollie's, I mustn't forget Ollie's birthday." And in the light of Doug's hospital visit, I'm very sorry to say I can't award this year the Happiest Scotsman of the Year award because there's only one contender. It's on the page 211. We've got an unusual category today. It's the most surprising use of the English language in conversation. It's a conversation I heard between two people, Dave Bird, who we've heard about already, and Sniff. We're going to hear a lot about later, Sniff, so don't worry, he'll come up again. And Sniff said, "I was just a peripheral figure." Well done. Peripheral is a great use of the English language for a very Irish cricketer. And Dave came back with, "No, you were integral." It's the best conversation I've heard since I heard Birdie say sophisticated once. This conversation, incidentally, was in discussing the club's tour to South Africa way back in 1999. For which, after 17 years of legal wrangling and public inquest, Sniff has finally won the award for getting to take his entire cricket kit on a major tour to the southern continent. And talking about continents, there's an award here for the most opposition shower rooms christened at away games. Scotty Waite. had a lot of new arrivals this season. It's one of the things that's given the club strength. And Richard Sainter is no longer the Supreme Saint. The new Saint of the year is our second team bowler, Supremo David Saint. The Holy Trinity Award goes to three terrific players who played in the second team, who've confused a number of scorers over this year, which is David Saint, the Angel, and the Gabriel. The Angel, of course, was Jay, because we'll talk more about Marcus's bowling in a moment. But of the second team's success, I think those three turned out at least 7 matches. Now, on to cricket. The best run out of Lloydie was by Rolfie, and the best run out of Rolfie, in an act of retaliation, was Lloydie. The joint top wicket takers, if you heard, were Dates and Taggart, but Dates gets my prize because, according to most of the team, most of Taggart's wickets were complete crap. The most wides in the season, probably about the 5th year in a row, was by Dates with 57, which just proves what a variety he can bowl. You get that, did you? The 57 variety. The most wides in an over that Don Gabriel didn't bowl was by Dates, who bowled 5 in the first over at Abingdon. Dave, you're flapping your wings like a bird as umpire. Okay. The unluckiest bowler of the year. I said I'd mention Marcus again soon. The unluckiest bowler of the year was Marcus, who had five catches dropped off his bowling. 4 of them by spectators. We touched on some of these already. The top scores of the club. So the Shaky Batting Tart Award goes to Ben Keeping for scoring 100 for the twos. Mosem, as we've heard, made 200s in consecutive weeks. In the last innings, he was 97 not out with 1 ball to go, and he hit the ball for 6. And he worried me because he told me on the phone. He said, "I decided to chance my arm, and it came off." Care Bear with 79, we've heard. Ben Hilarious, 22 not out. There's a lot more runs where that's coming from, judging by the way he smashes my bowling around in the club nets. But I think the star batsman with his top career score this year, again is a guy who's not here, is Don Gabrielli, who made 15 runs all in 1 match. So I think it's a big hand for Don in his outfit. Best supporting batsman, you've heard a little bit about this, so you've had 11 not out for Ben in a partnership with partnerships totaling 80. David Saint made only 8, but in the big partnership that helped to win us a game. But clearly, Sniff, you've heard already, he had a big partnership with Ben Keeping. Sniff was on 0 when Ben had got to 42, which is a tremendous record. He accelerated to 3 by the time Ben had got 70, and he went completely nuts when he was out, by the time he was out for 6 when Ben had 87. We shouldn't mock Sniff, because if you've looked at any of those figures, he was involved in 5 of the 7 best second team partnerships of the season, and he wins my Rolf Dog Big Hitting Award for his top score of 65 not out, which was spread over 6 weeks, 3 days, 4 hours and 10 minutes. The most difficult fielder to move, and anybody who's captained this player will know what I'm talking about, is Dates. The most difficult fielder to keep still is Scott. And therefore this year's Attention Deficit Disorder Award, if he hasn't wandered off, goes to Scotty Wade. The award for the batsman with the most first ball dismissals in the season goes to Hamza. And although you have a long way to go to beat the record of the sponsor of that award, which is Ben Keeping, who did it 5 times in 2007. Was it 7? No, 7 ducks and 5 first ballers, I seem to remember. Well, let's just... I've upset him with the 7 ducks. He's very proud of it. So the best aggressive shots, first of all through this season were Hamza. But congratulations, Hamza, for your 1 defensive shot, first ball in the very last match of the season against Chisley, which shocked us all. Jamie Stevens' award for hitting 6s when most players would be defending also goes to Hamza. The most imaginary injuries of the year go to Matt Brightwell, who unfortunately is not here. The most permanent injuries go to Taggart. The most talked about imaginary permanent injuries go to Birdie. The Malcolm Ashby Award for the longest rambling conversations goes to Doug McKindo, and also for the most rambling text, and for the most rambling team talks, obviously goes to Taggart. I've not heard any of Mike's team talks, but they can't be longer than Taggart's. The Saeed Ahmed Award for arriving late, well, it's just impossible to separate Dates, who travels 40 miles to arrive at the last minute, from Keats, who walks through his garden gate for around the same time. And the worst excuse for being late is, I've just had a 2-hour massage, and there's no prizes for guessing which banker said that. And on the subject, we might ram the whole story home. The local news awards, which are quite popular last year, the most tasteless property developer of the year goes to Ben Keeping. The player with the most horses goes to Ben Keeping. The player with the most nannies goes to Ben Keeping. The nannies with the most horses, Ben Keeping. And the horses with the most nannies goes to Ben Keeping. You can have a breakdown for 5 minutes, Ben, you'll be back on shore. But here we come to a really very highly esteemed award, ladies and gentlemen. You might remember last year the famous comment that Hari Balakrishnan made last year. He said, "Rolf, you make very funny jokes." And so for the second year running, I want to congratulate this individual for his award for being the second funniest man, and that goes to Shaky. Well done, Shaky. You're the second funniest man in the room. It's obviously competing who was the most funny, although I noticed Stuart Murdoch didn't laugh at many of my jokes during the season, so good practice to go there. Food and Drinks Awards. We got the runner-up and the best teas of the year award was Roz. Runner-up, well done, Roz. And of course, the best teas, modesty again forbids me. But the award for or rather the biggest complaint about the quality of sandwiches by someone who hasn't done teas since 2006 was from Bernie. The award for the record number of times the bar was closed was by Sharon, and the record number of times it was closed and Shaky still in it was by Sharon as well. And just a few comments on drinks is on awards. Favourite drink, Sniff is orange squash, Sharon is white wine, Shaky is red wine, Sean is lager, Sam is cocoa, and Scott is almost anything as long as it goes in one glass. Most sandwiches eaten at tea was 21 by Dakes, most cakes eaten at tea was 35 by Harebear, most crust left on the plate in the pavilion was 22 by Sean, and most food left on the cricket ground during a match was Scott at 10.
I'll have to say that
was a good night before.
Was it Abingdon? Wasn't it Abingdon?
No, that might have been there as well. He peed in all the dressing rooms, so I don't expect it coming through everywhere else. Okay, for the second year in a row we got a smoking prize. The most strawberries smoked this year was by Cooper Man with 720, which exceeded the number of fags smoked combined by Lloydie and by Tags. Lloydie's been to the doctor and he's been asked, he told he must cut down, and the way to do it is to only smoke after meals, and I'm glad to say that Lloydie is down to just 30 meals a day. Back to cricket for a moment. The longest throw we had a woman cricketer play for us this year was 57 yards by Lauren Head against the Hitare, and the longest throw by a girl was 21 yards by Brooksy at Banbury. The club's favourite prime number of the season was 17, which is the number exceeded by Taggart in the game at Abingdon. And so Taggart wins this year's Abacus Award. The worst driving of the year was Brooks's 3-point turn as a level crossing en route to Didcombe. The best driving of the year was Sean driving en route to number 3 Woodside. The most hours spent speaking into a microphone was 3,259 by Shaky, which includes 800 hours at home on his own with karaoke and 920 hours ordering breakfast in bed. The RSPB Occasional Summer Visitor Award goes to Ben Cooper, although there's some controversy over this, some people think it should go to one of the birds. The Attention Seeking Air Traveller Award goes to Dave Bird. And the best Captain Bird's Eye impression goes to Mark Dakin. The worst Bouncers of the Year award goes to Mark Dakin. The Hamza Ahmed Defensive Batting Award goes to Marcus Angel. And the most people on a bench in a single at one moment is 5.5 drivers against horsepath. Sorry, Carrie, you're known as no legs, so you count as a half. I'm going to use another long word now, Bertie. It's hyperbole. The 2016 prize for hyperbole goes to Taggart in that 2016 report some of you got on your desk with phrases like both teams achieved the giddy heights of mid-table mediocrity. I do recommend it to you as compulsive reading. The most noisy spectator award goes jointly to Sean and Shaky. The best advice given to a batsman who's just been out goes to Shaky. Thanks for that, Shaky. And the best advice given to a captain who's just led his team to defeat also goes to Shaky. Thank you also for that one, Shaky. I was very grateful for all of the advice on the day. Okay, a few job awards. The runner-up in the wine delivery category, excluding private shipments to the driving house, goes to Lloydie. But clearly the biggest, the best wine delivery man was Pete Drayman over there. If anybody saw his Ford car low slung on its suspension, they would wonder how he got to the M40. Now, retailer of the year was Sean. 10-pin bowling manager of the year is Hair Bear, and laminator of the year is Marcus.
Yay! The laminator!
We also had a celebrity, not really a job, is it? But celebrity here. We had somebody called Elvis play for us against Hetaro. Elvis was quite an interesting performer with his footwear and his chat. We'll come back to Elvis in a little bit. We're going to have a little bit on clothing because the James Hair Bear Award for having his shirt outside his trousers goes to Mike Gillett. The worst and most worrying excuse for having his shirt outside his trousers goes to Mike Gillett. I can't find a shirt large enough. The best one's debut performance by anyone with their shirt outside their trousers go to Mike Gillett. And the only player in history to take a wicket with each of his first 2 balls with his shirt outside his trousers goes to Mike Gillett. Well done, Mike. You're having a break and relax. You're done investing, pretty much. But we've got one player who does have a back problem in the first team, Brooksy, and so the award for the most sweaters worn in a cricket match is Brooksy with 5, and the award for the most Pringle cardigans worn in a match is Keats with 7. The smelliest keeping gloves award, I'm told, goes to Brooksy, although I didn't smell Sam's or Luke's or Ben's or anyone else's. But the clothing award this year, the great story to me was Hair Bear and a pair of shoelaces. And Hair Bear, tell me it's not true. Hair Bear ran a run and got in easily and decided it was time to do up his shoelace. And walked down the wicket a little bit to do up his shoelace. At which point he was run out. Hair Bear, tell me that didn't happen. Did it happen? Did it happen? Well, did it? Laura, did it happen? Did he come home in tears?
He left one and then decided to go walk up the wicket, and the matey boy ran him out. So the matey boy ran him out.
Oh, let's have an inquest about that. We'll do that later. Right, okay. The Simon Lord's filth bowler of the season was Taggart. The most reluctant bowler of the season was Dakes against Horsepath, Abingdon, Cumnor, Kane. In fact, pretty much every match. The most matches played with Sard in the same team goes to Mosin. The most matches played with Mosin goes to Sard. The best comment of the season, quite possibly, was while scoring at Banbury, Sean, when a girl came on to bowl, called out, "Bowler's phone number, please." A match in which Sean performed only ever shoulder charge I've ever seen on an opposition captain during the match. The best performance in brown shoes goes to Elvis. We didn't know where his blue suede shoes were. Perhaps they were on Hamza, because Hamza got the best performance in blue shoes in the last match of the season. And there was an outbreak of Elvis quotes from Doug, unfortunately, in that match. Lots of them when Elvis was playing, including to the batsman with a helmet on. "Is this the devil in disguise?" And worryingly, he said, "Are you lonesome tonight?" to the batsman. Before coming up with, "Well, it's now or never," which reminds